What are we doing here, hon?
Today we're going to make what I thought was just a gimmicky cookie. This is our second time we've made them. These are from the first batch. As you can see, they are gigantic. And we do have one that's broken open because I ate it for breakfast. Jason can come in and show the crumb of this cookie. Now, I am not a big fan of chocolate chip cookies that are gimmicks. I have a chocolate chip cookie recipe. It's delicious. It makes lovely cookies. So I only wanted to try this because I thought since they're so big, I don't have to make as many. That's one of the drawbacks of the recipe that I have. So I found this. It's from Jane Dunn. Now, Jane Dunn is actually from Britain, and she has a fantastic website. I looked her up. I decided I'd figure out who she was. And she's totally legit. And these cookies are legit. We really like them. And the reason I think that we really like them was because they kind of taste like cookie dough. So even though they're baked, they still taste like cookie dough. They are fantastic and delicious. And so we wanted to make them for you guys and share how good they were. So a couple tips for you at the beginning. Tip number one, I didn't take out my eggs. You're supposed to have room temperature eggs. So if you do that, if you have a recipe where you're supposed to have room temperature eggs, you can just set them in a bowl of slightly warm water, obviously not hot, you're not trying to cook your eggs, for just about 5 minutes, and that will bring them up to room temperature. I also have my butter packs that I use to rest all my spoons on. It's a great little tip because then you just have something and you don't have to wash it later, you can just throw it away. And then the next tip has to do with our brown sugar. So we have this fancy brown sugar holder, and the cool thing about it is that it has this little terracotta piece right here. Every once in a while you just get it damp with a little bit of water and your brown sugar never gets lumps. Now what I used to do was just wrap my brown sugar up in this press and seal. Not regular saran wrap. Press and seal keeps all the air out. That's what makes the lumps in your brown sugar. And so if you don't feel like spending the money on this, I think I got this off Amazon, although maybe King Arthur also sells them. They probably both sell them. It's worth the investment. It's easier to get the sugar out of here, but the press and seal will work if you're looking to make sure that your brown sugar doesn't get lumps. So those are your tips for this particular recipe. We're going to get started. I've already measured out the the butter and sugar. This is 260 grams of unsalted butter, 200 grams of soft light brown sugar, and 150 grams of regular sugar. Over in this bowl we have 600 grams of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, which is a lot, baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. We'll also add our eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, thanks Mama for the extract from Mexico, and then we have 300 grams of dark chocolate chips and 300 grams of regular chocolate chips. So let's get mixing. Brown sugar and butter. Okay, that's a good consistency. All the butter has been incorporated into the sugar. And the next step is to add the eggs and the vanilla. Always crack your egg into a bowl. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, so the next step is to add the flour and soda, and so I'm gonna have Jason do that. It's a pretty stiff dough, so we need some muscle, and so we're gonna let him do that.
Okay, let's go. Key is to start low. Easy. Okay.
Okay. The last part is to get the chocolate chips in there, and I found the easiest way to do that is just by hand. So we're just gonna measure them out and then squish them in by hand.
How much are you putting in there?
There might be extra chips in here. It's 300. It's supposed to be 300 dark and 300 light. Perfect.
It's not a science. We'll give a little bit, I guess, but
Maybe I'll start with a spoon. Yeah, no, it's by hand.
3 minutes later. Right?
Yeah, pretty much 3 minutes later. So we've got all of the chocolate chips mixed in here. I mixed it by hand. The next part is a little bit finagly. You want to measure out your portioned balls, 120 grams each. Put them on a tray and then stick them in the fridge for half an hour to an hour while your oven is preheating. So I'm just gonna do a couple just to kind of show you what it looks like. I've got my tray with some parchment, and that means I can get this double recipe. The regular recipe only makes 8. We're gonna make, I think, hopefully 16, and then I'll come back and show you what everything looks like. So I've got a piece of the wrapping to just kind of protect my scale, and then we just grab what I hope is about 120. Yeah, that's 145. There's 121. I'll take the chip off. Okay, we're at 120. So we just take it, form it into a little ball, and stick it on our tray. We'll do a little pause and record. All done with the forming of the cookies. These are now going to go in the refrigerator for an hour. You could alternatively put them in the freezer for 30 minutes, but there's no room in the freezer because it's full of worm food, so they have to go in the refrigerator. So I'm just going to go watch some Terry King gardening videos with my husband, and we'll be back in an hour. I will start the oven about 20 minutes before we get ready to cook these guys. The oven needs to be at 200 Celsius, so I'm going with about 380. I don't think that's exactly right, but it's close enough. Okay, so the cookies have come off of their tray that they were in the fridge, and you can see how they've been arranged so that they have a little room to spread. These cookies won't spread very much. Another tip that I read this week about making cookies is that if your cookies are spreading too much, it could be because your oven is too cold. It's just not, well, it's not hot enough. If the oven is hot enough, they will stay more in the form that they are. So time to get these guys in. I'm going to cook these, like I said, about 380, 385 degrees for 13 minutes. I will check on them and see if they have the right color. All right, these guys are out of the oven. Now this pan was on the top shelf, and I think they're a little bit darker than I would like. These guys are perfect. So this guy may be a little bit brown right there, but the coloring on them is really good. Now is the hard part because they need to sit for 30 minutes on the tray to finish cooking. So we're gonna wait 30 minutes and then we're gonna bust one open and see what it's like. They have rested on their hot trays. I use air bake pans. I find that then I don't burn the bottoms, and as you can see, they look good on the bottom. So we're gonna take one of the more Dunn ones. I have two concerns. One is I cooked them about a minute too long. And number two is we did actually put some extra chips in here, more than we had put in the first batch. So is it gonna be cookie dough like enough? You wanna try it?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's gonna be delicious.
Dog. Flippin' awesome. So good.
I think you could go with fewer chocolate chips and you'd get a more cookie doughy. But, you know, people are different. So, this was an easy recipe to do. It's very impressive. Great as a gift. Doesn't take very long other than resting in the fridge and then resting on the trays. But it does give you an opportunity to do other things, like watch gardening videos. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Great afternoon.
Yeah, it's a lovely afternoon. Hope everyone is having a great New Year's Eve. This would be a great New Year's Eve cookie. Great way to start the new year. Thanks everyone. Stay awesome.
Oh, I didn't record it. We'll have to do it again.
Are you serious?